believes Zimbabweans are capable of spearheading game-changing, first-of-a-kind innovations that challenge the world's traditional ways of doing things. President Mnangagwa said no one can take away that capability.
Africa's automotive scene has been undergoing a remarkable transformation, fueled by fresh ideas, impactful technologies, and determined entrepreneurs. Every day, production lines across the continent roll out around 30,000 newly made cars, some of which harness cutting-edge clean energy solutions that challenge traditional boundaries. Among these inspiring innovations is the self-powering vehicle conceptualized by Maxwell Chikumbutso in Zimbabwe.
The vehicle, it uses what we call the microsonic energy device. The microsonic energy device, it is the device that I personally invented in 2009, which harnesses radio frequencies, converted it into energy.
The goal is clear: provide reliable mobility while reducing costs and fostering homegrown profit. Key hubs of production. Producing 30,000 cars a day doesn't hinge on one country alone. Rather, it's the result of many African nations ramping up their engineering and manufacturing. South Africa, for example, has maintained a robust automotive sector for decades, boasting assembly plants for major brands and employing thousands of people. Morocco, too, has grown into a serious automotive export hub, thanks to strategic ties with European manufacturers.
It's about Morocco's booming auto industry. The country's automotive sector has grown from virtually non-existent to Africa's largest in less than 2 decades.
Meanwhile, places like Nigeria and Ghana are focusing on local brands and assembling buses, trucks, and passenger cars. South Africa benefits from established infrastructure, a mature supplier base, and a large pool of skilled technicians. Morocco, due in part to its geographical proximity to Europe, has attracted considerable foreign direct investment (FDI). That has led to world-class assembly lines capable of delivering not only domestic supply, but also exporting to various global markets. Meanwhile, Nigeria invests in large-scale bus and truck manufacturing to serve both local and West African trade routes. In Zimbabwe, the story is more youthful, but it's not isolated. Maxwell Chikumbutso's self-powered car epitomizes the flair for forward-looking designs. Though the idea of obtaining enough energy from radio waves to power a vehicle still raises eyebrows, it has spurred conversations about the bigger possibility of advanced labs and R&D centers in Zimbabwe. The presence of such labs could lead to improved battery technologies, more efficient internal combustion engines, or even new ways of capturing solar or kinetic energy for vehicles. Already, the government's fresh push to support local inventors tries to create a nurturing ecosystem that might lower costs for both producers and end users. These diverse production hubs feed into the 30,000 cars made daily across the continent. Production numbers may be smaller in certain nations compared to established global manufacturers, yet the consistent progress is undeniable. On top of that, many African brands now realize that they can't just replicate foreign models and hope for success. They must tailor their vehicles to local terrain, cultural preferences, and cost parameters. For example, the hot climate in large swaths of the continent means that robust cooling systems, dust-resistant parts, and easy maintenance design are crucial. Another factor boosting production is Africa's strong appetite for community-based mobility. Large families, extensive rural areas, and entrepreneurial ventures all require reliable vans, minibuses, and trucks. This urges factories to churn out sturdy, multi-purpose vehicles day after day. By addressing these real-world requirements, local producers can consistently sell at volume, keep their factories busy, and refine processes to reduce overhead. Embracing environmentally friendly solutions. While the traditional auto industry can bring many benefits, it also raises concerns about pollution, emissions, and resource depletion. Africa finds itself at a pivotal moment, expanding manufacturing capacities while also grappling with climate change concerns. This balance has led to a dynamic shift in thinking about new, cleaner ways to power vehicles. And that's precisely where inventions like Maxwell Chikumbutso's self-powered car fit into the broader narrative, exploring truly groundbreaking technologies that might allow Africa to leapfrog conventional, polluting models. In the mainstream, Africa is also seeing growth in electric vehicles. Some factories are pivoting to produce battery-powered cars or buses, mindful that global markets and environmentally aware African consumers are turning increasingly towards sustainable transport. By adopting or even refining existing technology, local producers can reduce their carbon footprint. Many nations are rolling out new charging networks in major cities, often powered by renewable energy like solar or hydropower. This synergy between green energy sources and electric mobility signals a new era where African cities and towns could skip the heavy reliance on oil-based solutions. Yet the self-powering design from Zimbabwe stands out as a visionary approach. Instead of needing a large battery or a standard power source, the idea is to harness ambient radio waves, convert them into direct current, and fuel the vehicle continuously. If proven at mass scale, such a model could solve the classic problem of range anxiety that has plagued electric vehicles. People wouldn't have to queue at charging stations, nor would they have to pay for expensive fuel. They could simply drive, fueled by the electromagnetic waves already surrounding us. Even if critics remain skeptical about how much energy radio waves alone can feasibly produce, it's the willingness to try something bold that sets Africa apart at this moment. Another key environmental advantage is that many new African-made cars come with multi-fuel or hybrid engines. Some are designed to run on locally available biofuels, reducing dependence on imported oil. Others incorporate advanced filters that cut down on harmful emissions, aligning with international standards. And with the arrival of micro and small solar panels that can supplement a vehicle's energy needs, powering lights, air conditioning, or entertainment systems, cars become more efficient, especially in countries blessed with abundant sunlight. Parallel to these greener strategies is the evolving sense of corporate responsibility. African automakers, particularly those run by younger teams, often treat sustainability as a core principle rather than an afterthought. Factories aim to cut waste by recycling materials or reusing leftover metals and plastics. Some go so far as to redesign supply chains to shrink shipping distances and slash the carbon footprint. The shift isn't just ethical, it's also pragmatic. More environment-friendly methods can lower production costs over time, maximize the utility of natural resources, and appeal to an expanding, environmentally conscious market. Economic and social ripple effects. The automotive upswing, featuring 30,000 daily cars manufactured across Africa, does far more than just supply vehicles to end users. It spawns massive economic and social gains that ripple through African societies in profound ways. Foremost among these is job creation. Car factories need operators, engineers, assembly line technicians, administrative staff, shipping coordinators, accountants, and a host of other roles. Each position is a livelihood for a person, and often a family. From grocery stores to clothing shops. Thus, a single automotive plant can kickstart an entire local economy, especially in places that once struggled with limited opportunity. Beyond direct employment, auto-producing nations often see a surge in related small businesses. These can be parts suppliers, like metal fabricators, tire manufacturers, and electronics assembly shops, or service providers including design studios, marketing agencies, and truck transport operators. As production lines across the continent grow, more small businesses get the chance to feed critical components into the supply chain. This fosters an environment of entrepreneurial hustle, where service providers specialize in painting, upholstery, or custom additions. Over time, those specialized crafts can reach international standards, and businesses can begin exporting their offerings beyond Africa's borders. On the social front, families with stable, better-paying manufacturing jobs can afford healthcare, schooling, and improved housing. This, in turn, raises a community's overall well-being. Is far more likely to send their children for higher education, fueling the next generation with stronger skills and ambition. Over time, entire towns around automotive hubs transform into bustling centers of commerce, complete with restaurants, shops, cultural spaces, and broader municipal improvements, new roads, better lighting, and more reliable water systems. By placing production facilities in different regions, African governments and investors also help address the historic concentration of industry in a few big cities. With automotive plants popping up in more remote or often overlooked provinces, rural communities get to share in the benefits. This can slow or even reverse the flow of people migrating to crowded urban areas in search of work. Those who choose to stay in or near their hometowns can carve out a decent living in the automotive sector, all while helping to preserve rural culture and family networks. Furthermore, Africa's large population includes a deep pool of skilled, motivated youth. By securing hands-on experience in assembly lines or automotive design labs, these individuals can eventually become innovators in their own right. Some might specialize in advanced manufacturing techniques, while others take an interest in vehicle electrification or battery research, potentially leading to startups and new breakthroughs. This cyclical pattern fosters a robust, well-decentralized ecosystem of automotive production and design. In short, the benefits accumulate over time, pushing African societies into higher living standards and greater self-reliance. China's new $12,000 flying car. These days, when you see something flying in the sky, you'd quickly think it's a bird, an airplane, or a rocket. But if you look closely, it just might be China's new flying car. XPeng X2 recently showcased its X2 flying car at the 2024 China Langfang International Economic and Trade Fair. The demonstration took place in the Beijing International Airport Economic Zone. While this wasn't its first public test flight, it was the first time a flying car took to the skies in the Beijing X2, originally called Voyager 2, is more like a drone than a traditional car. It has a two-seater design made mostly from carbon materials. The X2 is 5,172 millimeters long, 5,124 millimeters wide, and 1,362 millimeters high. It weighs 680 kilograms and can carry a maximum of 160 kilograms.
See our flying car, and will be the very important base for the next generation flying car.
How does this new car differ from the ordinary car? How was this car created? What you're about to hear will blow your mind. Unlike most drones that have 4 motors, the X2 is an octocopter, meaning it has 8 motors for extra power and safety. If one motor fails, a built-in parachute provides additional security. The X2 can fly for 25 minutes and has completed almost 4,000 test flights in various settings, such as cities, seas, and deserts. Aero-HT plans to release a version with a longer range, likely with a bigger battery within a few years, but XPeng launched this year a combination of a drone car and a transport vehicle. Images of the land carrier were leaked last year. The XPeng X2 is now a working vehicle that blends the convenience of driving with the freedom of flying. Imagine stepping into your car, driving to a suitable spot, and then taking off into the sky with just the press of a button. The XPeng X2 turns this dream into reality. This breakthrough is remarkable. For decades, flying cars were seen as pure science fiction, something that might never happen. But now, with the X2, the future is here.
So some people would think this could be still things for the future, but from our perspective, it will not be that far away from now.
While XPeng leads the charge in China, the United States has also made strides in the flying car race. Aleph Aeronautics, a startup in California, recently received government approval for its flying car, the Model A. The Model A is a fully electric vehicle capable of both driving on city streets and flying. With a flying range of 177 kilometers and a driving range of 320 kilometers, the Model A is a game changer, and its development began with an idea sketched on a napkin back in 2015. For China, XPeng's bold approach to innovation is perfectly shown in the X2's cutting-edge design. The company's vision of the future has come to life in a vehicle that challenges traditional definitions. With its smooth curves and futuristic look, the X2 is an engineering and design masterpiece that inspires excitement and adventure. It looks like something straight out of a science fiction story.
Technology and design, they need to be also one firm unit. And for this, we are also very, as designers and as BYD generally, also our customers very happy.
At first glance, the XPeng X2 seems like a sleek, compact car, similar to the electric vehicles XPeng Motors is famous for, but on closer inspection, it's clear this is no ordinary car. Its body is made from advanced composite materials chosen for their strength, lightweight, and durability for both road and air travel. The real magic of the XPeng X2 is how it can completely change. With just one button, this normal-looking car turns into a flying machine. The wheels fold into the body, and strong rotors pop out, ready to lift the X2 into the air. This transformation is possible because of its smart design, which uses vertical takeoff and landing technology.